Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, boys? Running around the podcast in the house.
Let's go.
Here
Hit me,
we
I'm
are.
open. Let's go, baby.
Week
Week
one.
one.
Week
Week
one.
one.
Fight.
Here we are. We made it. We had a boring summer to sit through, and we're ready. We're
Yes.
ready for
Open
some
that division.
football. Football season's here. It's on starting Thursday. Big game. Some high-powered offenses. A lot of early week one divisional matchups. Getting down to the nitty-gritty right away. Loving it.
No lie.
Got rookie starters. It's fantasy football season.
It's going down.
Trash talking season.
Shout out to the
My
league.
opinion was wrong season.
Shout out to the
Hey,
league. Shout out to Maddie being
Yes.
the champ last season.
Yes.
New
Yes.
season. Let's go.
yeah. All right, we ready to jump in this year?
Yeah, good luck, gentlemen.
Do it.
Good luck to this new
Look.
season, gentlemen.
All right, let's see.
sir.
Let's start Thursday game here. 8 o'clock Thursday.
Oh,
First game of the season. We got the Detroit Lions going into the Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs.
defending.
Kansas City, as of right now, is a 5-point favorite. I don't think this factors in the Travis Kelce news, which is going to be a huge blow to them. That's just the biggest safety blanket there is in the NFL is having
Absolutely.
Travis Kelce as your tight end. So with me, Casey having no Travis Kelce, that's no, like I said, no safety blanket. You got Chris Jones on the other side on holdout still. That's huge against this Detroit offensive line and this Detroit run game. So I'm going to go with the upset here with the Lions taking the win here.
Right off
Right off the bat, upset right away, knocking off the Super Bowl champs of last year. There's too many new wide receivers. Mahomes is a great quarterback. He's going to find these guys open. Someone's going to score a couple touchdowns, but it's going to be a trouble finding a rhythm and getting all these guys on the same page without having someone reliable like Travis Kelce next to you. So I'm going Detroit Lions. Where you at, Ed?
No doubt, bro. I honestly, I thought about this too, and I was like, man, Chris Jones, man, no Trav. Oh, those are two big, gigantic. It's a team sport, folks. I don't want to muddy the waters. I don't want to blur the lines here. It's a team sport, okay? But the two in question are such big contributors. I mean, we're talking about 15 and a half sacks, at a Chris Jones. We're talking about wide receiver numbers at the tight end position. Trav. I just think potentially coming out of the gate, Detroit could be full speed ahead. And KC, the first week, maybe two, might get off to a slow start, or we're wrong and it becomes a shootout. And the defending champs are the defending champs. But I'm going Detroit here. I don't know about you. I don't know about you, Char, but I'm going Detroit here just because it's a little fishy. And I think that the Lions could come out roaring.
Man, I could. I'm gonna have to, Brady did a little storytelling last week. I'm gonna have to open the pages of my book and script wise to begin this game.
Let's go.
I like Casey to get out fast. Not having Kelce is massive, but the orchestration that is Mahomes and Andy Reid, I don't think on ring night, I don't think Detroit is ready for this level. Right out the gates, on the road in Arrowhead, prime time. That's
Loud.
heavy.
Tall task.
I don't like it. I don't like it for Jared Goff and the boys. I don't like it. I think KC gets out fast. I think they end up covering that 5 points. I think you're gonna see the missing of Kelce will matter, especially like on third downs and stuff like that. I think you're gonna see Chris Jones not being there, the effect that the Lions are going to be able to run the ball a little bit easier through the tackles and stuff like that. But let's not forget, KC's still got some edge presence out there. They have one of the best linebacking cores depth wise in the AFC. So I think they'll do all right. I think they'll handle business. I think they'll give Golf all he can handle. I don't particularly like what the weapons are over there in Detroit. I think they're going to score points, but I think Casey's going to score more points. I like the over. I like the Chiefs to cover. I'm going Casey. Not on ring night. I can't take Detroit on ring night.
Can't take Detroit on ring night.
I do got a little fantasy question though. Since Travis Kelce is out, um, who do you guys like out of the Kansas City receiving core? If you were in desperate need of a spot start here and you had to clip the waiver wire, would you want to play maybe Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, MVS, or go a little deeper with Justin Ross, Richie James, or maybe the rookie Rashid Rice? Who you like to step up this game for KC's receiving core?
You want me to take it, Bray?
Uh,
Who you got, Bray?
yeah, I'll go first. I think if I was just playing it safe, I'd probably go like Sky Moore, only because I don't fully trust Kadarius Toney. I think he's already listed as questionable coming off of
Always.
preseason and stuff. Always unquestionable. But if I wanted to risk it, I'd go with the Rashee Rice. There's a reason they drafted him. There was other wide receivers that were available, but they took him because that dude reached out to Mahomes. Him and Mahomes were practicing before the draft. They got a good communication going, and they liked each other. And so Mahomes said, "Hey, we're drafted. I want this guy on my team." So if I was going to take the risk, I'd go with the Rice for the sole fact that he's already bonding with Mahomes.
I like it.
I like it. That's a
About
solid
to it.
pick. I'm just going common sense here. For me, when you take a look at the numbers from a season ago, obviously at the top of the list was Trav. He potentially could not play in this game, or is he out, fellas? Do we know if he's out 2 days before?
Not confirmed.
Okay, so we
out.
don't know if he's out, but he's
Yeah.
he's definitely in the questionable slot. Their second leading receiver a season ago is also not on the roster this year. He's a New England Patriot, so they will not have Juju Smith-Schuster. And then the third dude on the depth chart, which is receiving yards, was Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I'm thinking year 2 in the system, potentially he could end up being a guy that gets fed the ball a lot only because of the familiarity that he had with Mahomes and this offense a season ago. I didn't pick anyone else because a lot of these other guys are brand new faces and have never really worked with him in game before, so I couldn't really go with them. I couldn't say Kadarius Toney, who also was coming back from a season ago, because you just don't know what you're going to get. Absolute fine-tuned athlete and machine, but he just hasn't been able to get it all together and stay on the field. So even still, he's been on KC for an entire season, and he's still battling the same type situations that he was battling in New York. I wish him nothing but the best, but for me, I got to go with the solid pick for me is Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
I like the MVS thing. I'd agree with Brady. If I was going to throw a dart, I'd go Rashid Rice. He's got the best talent, speed combination out of anybody on the wide receiving core for them. But I don't think you can go wrong, and that's why I posed the question, because it's a, it's a close your eyes and kind of
Honestly,
walk through the woods to try to find which one you think is going to be the guy. Obviously, somebody's going to.
because this totally could be Sky's year, or like you're saying, man. I'm just saying, or it could be like
year wise, I don't know.
Justin Ross has been on the roster.
Kelsey.
Yeah, but Justin Ross has been on the roster for a minute, bro. He could just come and emerge out of nowhere. I mean, that's a beautiful dart too. I'm trying to take a safe
Very
dart.
What we got up next, Brady?
Let's jump in Sunday games here. First 1:00 game. Houston Texans with their number 2 overall pick, C.J. Stroud, going into the Baltimore Ravens against Lamar Jackson and company. Big 10-point spread here for Baltimore. Largest spread of the weekend. But for me, I almost got to agree with it. Baltimore is just too strong of a team. They're too strong just overall, and that's a really good defense for Stroud's first showing in the NFL. He's got a lot to overcome. And then on the other side of the ball, Baltimore's offense has enough weapons and talent to avoid, big man Will Anderson, the other pick, big first round pick there they got. So for me, they got the wide receivers, they got Lamar Jackson, you got J.K. Dobbins, your offensive line's pretty decent. If Mark Andrews is, eligible and playing, that's another dude. So I'm going to go Ravens here. I think it's going to end up being something around like 28-10. I just think the Ravens are ready to win football games, and the Texans are still trying to work things out. It's still early. It's week 1. Whole new team basically.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I go Baltimore Ravens here too. It's an easy pick to do. Shout out to the Houston Texans and everything they're doing and the steps that they're taking, moving in the right direction, and trying to build championship organization, championship franchise. I really love the head coach here, but I gotta go Baltimore Ravens because they're so hyped up over there with Zay Flowers. They're so hyped up over there with Odell Beckham Jr. You really think that this offense is gonna come out firing on all cylinders, and you just hate to see this rookie have to go up against that defense first game. And for that, I'm out on the rookie and I'm in on the Ravens. How about you, Char?
Yeah, I'll make it a clean sweep. I'm gonna go Ravens, but I think the Texans are gonna put up a little bit of a fight. But the Ravens traditionally start off red hot. Lamar the past 2-3 seasons just scorching out the blocks, and it should be even more of so with everybody that you guys mentioned. But I think CJ keeps some game into it. I don't think talent for talent the Texans can match what the Ravens have right now. Very high expectations personally for the Ravens. So I got to go them. But I do think the Texans find a way to cover 10.5 points to an NFL franchise. It is a tough first start for CJ Stroud. You guys
No
aren't
doubt.
wrong at all on that. But I like the fact that they have a good ground game in Damian Pierce. And that kind of leads me to another question, real quick. Sit start, two good backs in this one. You got J.K. Dobbins on the Ravens. You got Damian Pierce on the Texans. Which one do you guys sit? Which one do you start in this game?
Uh,
I'm going J.K. Dobbins. Pierce showed promise last year at the beginning. He kind of slowed down there in the second half, and I can't say that offensive line got better. Whereas I think this Ravens defense got better as long as J.K. Dobbins could stay healthy. That Ravens team got better in the offseason.
no lie. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going with Damian Pierce here. I drafted him. That's who I'm stuck with.
Enough said. I think JK maybe has the opportunity to get more touchdowns this game. I think Damien's going to have the opportunity to run the ball and be a little bit more successful on the ground because he's the only guy that got pretty much back there.
Gonna get
Devin
fed.
Singletary shouldn't take too much out of his plate. So it's kind of a toss up for me. It's a tough one. I'd probably go JK because he could have multiple touchdowns because I expect this Baltimore offense to move the ball up and down the field. But maybe at the end of the day, Damian Pierce has got over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown, and he has the better day, and they end up losing. It doesn't matter. But um, it's a tough one. That's a
Mhm.
tough one.
I'm going Pierce, but they are talking about being more of a passing offense this season for Baltimore as opposed to being the quite
Yeah.
running team that they've been throughout. So I would take a chance and start Pierce.
All right, all right. We'll see. Hey, I think I'm pretty sure I drafted J.K. Dobbins. So hey, may the best man win there, Eddie.
There you go. Heads up.
Yeah.
All right, next game though, big one. You got a AFC North matchup: Cincinnati Bengals, Week 1 going into Cleveland Browns. They're a 2.5 point favorite. They don't see each other again until Week 18, so they got a long time to hold a grudge on the winner and the loser
No
here.
doubt.
So I believe Burrow is expected to play, regarding his calf injury. They just got to move that ball quickly because that Browns pass rush is no joke. Obviously, Myles Garrett's huge. So, but for me, it's the lack of provability or that for knowing that the Browns can put up points over there. I know the Bengals are going to score. They're not going to get blown out. And I still can't fully trust based off of what I saw last season with Deshaun Watson and the Browns to outscore the Bengals. So I'm going to say the Bengals win it here based off of maybe the Browns have it at the last drive of the game, but they're just not going to be able to capitalize it because they can't move the ball as well.
No doubt. You didn't convince me. I'm going to have to say here, I love Joe Burrow. I love the Cincinnati Bengals. I love the draft pick Brown. I love everything that since he's been doing for the past 3 seasons. Joe Burrow's
How can you
practiced
not?
twice. I don't know if there's been any contact. he's practiced twice. And folks, because he's practiced twice, and for that, I'm out. This Cleveland's defense is ferocious. They're definitely going to try to be ferocious. This is an individual. This is a divisional game. This is an important one at that. I'm taking Cleveland here. They're the more healthier team in my eyes. I'm taking Cleveland Browns here because I think Deshaun could come out swinging early. Burrow hasn't had much practice. Not that he needs it. I mean, he's been practicing for years with Chase. He was the number 2 token a wide receiver off the board in our fantasy league. The dude is an absolute stud. So's Burrow. I just think they might stutter week 1. I'm taking Cleveland here. Browns it is. Char, how about you?
Yeah, it's going to be trench heavy in this game. Cleveland's going to try to control it on both sides, and I think realistically they have an advantage on both sides. I like the fact that Deshaun Watson is mobile and Joe Burrow he's going to be limited. No matter what happens, he plays or not, he's going to be limited. And I haven't seen the Bengals protect him since he's been in the
When he
league,
had 2 good legs.
consistently. There's no doubt about it. I agree with you, Brady, that the Bengals can put up points, and if Joe Burrow's on that field, I guarantee they will put up points. But I'm gonna go with the home team. I'm gonna go, give me those 2.5 points. But I think the Browns end up winning. I think it's a close game. I like the Browns by a field goal, maybe 4 points. So give me the Brownies. I think they get off to the hot start. And I gotta see, just like you said, you gotta see the proof in the pudding for Deshaun. I gotta see the proof in the pudding with this remake offensive line yet again for Cincinnati, because that's an issue. It was an issue since he's been in the league, and he's getting older. I mean, these injuries, even though that was a non-contact fluke of a situation, like the stuff does add up. And over a career, it adds up. I mean, look at Dan Marino. There's been so many good quarterbacks that just over the years just took a punishment, and it wears on them no matter how good they are. So, yeah, I gotta go Browns here, especially at home. Dog pound, stand up.
All right, let's see it. I'll be the lone pick here for the Cincinnati fans. I got your back. But let's move on here. Next game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to the Minnesota Vikings. Buccaneers have new quarterback at the helm. They're another team piecing together an offensive line. Going to the Minnesota Vikings, who showed promise against the weaker teams last year, struggled against some tough teams. For me, looking at this, I had to look back at last season, and I understand the Bucs don't look that great on throwing Baker Mayfield's at the helm. You got Rashad White. What's he going to do at running back? But that Vikings defense was very sparse. They allowed a lot more than they should have. And this Bucs defense can be tough and keep the game low scoring. But I'm gonna give hope into the new defensive coordinator over there in Minnesota and Brian Flores, and that he's changed it up a little bit, and this is gonna be a harder defense to work against. So I'm gonna give it to Minnesota, but I do think it's gonna be closer than the 6-point spread that they give the Vikings.
No doubt. I'm not gonna lie, Brady. I thought right at the end there you're gonna throw me a curve and you're gonna take the Bucs.
He wanted to.
I want to.
And I mean,
I want to.
If Mike Evans plays, right? Is Mike Evans playing or he's sitting?
I imagine so. He's an older dude. He's one of those dudes that always has something, but he always plays. He's only missed like 9 games in his career.
I just I mean, with the acquisition of Baker, I've talked privately off camera that, potentially, if they could create a system around him that would tailor to his needs and be able to run the ball strong, I think potentially there is potential there with the Bucs and Baker. I'm not completely anti-Baker. I love the fight in the guy, and he's a slinger. I mean, what's there not to like? Everybody loves a gunslinger. And, I just don't think that, potentially, because, I got confidence in that D-line for the Bucs. They can slow the run game down with Madison and the acquisition of that running game. But do I think that they're capable of stopping the run and those 3 elite receivers that they have over there on that on that roster with the new acquisition of Addison being drafted over there. I think potentially this could end up being a good game, but I'm going to edge it out to Minnesota simply because I just don't know what we could get with Baker yet. Are we going to get the Baker from the Rams where he's complete in plays and looks like that's the guy who got drafted? Or is it going to be, the Browns and who is he throwing it to and why is he not hitting Beckham and why is he not doing this? And he's injured again. I don't know what Baker we're going to get. So for that, I'm out on the Bucks. I'm taking Minnie. How about you, Char?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Vikings too. I think this one's gonna be an ugly game though. I think the Bucks are gonna struggle to move the ball on offense as bad as the Vikings defense was last year. And I think the Vikings are gonna have their problems missing Dalvin Cook, and there's gonna be sporadic times where they struggle moving the ball as well. I like the under on the game total, 45 and a half. I think the Vikes probably cover the 6, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 13 type, 17, 20 type of situation where the Bucks are able to make it close. Baker's a gamer.
For sure.
Um, I don't think this is going to be the prettiest game in the world to watch, but the Vikings handled business against lesser teams last year. They
No doubt.
struggled mightily against good teams, but they handled business against teams that they should beat.
Except the
So
Giants.
I'll side with the Vikes here, and I do have a little fantasy running back question though. More confidence in the running back. You go Alexander Madison in this game, or do you go Rashid White?
My pick would be White, only because I still have faith in the Bucks defense, and they got big men up front, and it's going to be hard to run. I think that's it fell off a little bit last year towards the end, but that's still their big bread and butter, sitting behind Vita Vea, plugging 3 holes himself there in the center, and then you got all these young Bucks around him. The first round draft pick, Kalijah Cansey, the Logan Hall from last year, Joe Tryon from the year
No
before.
doubt.
Yeah, defense got studs all
You
over.
got Shaquille Barrett coming back healthy, and you got a whole bunch of other dudes on rotation in there as well. So the front line there, I think for the Bucks will be able to slow down Madison.
No doubt.
Great.
I think that this is going to end up being a product of the squad. I think that potentially, if they didn't have such a good wide receiving core, I think it'd be a lot easier to stop them because you could focus on the run and not worry about it. I think the fact that, Madison is who Madison is and that pass game is who that pass game is, I just don't know what I'm going to get from Madison. So because of that, I'm going to take Madison over White. And I think that potentially with the pass being so accessible to Minnesota, I think against the Bucks, then that'll open the run up, because you'll still be worried about the pass. And they'll just get it off here and there, for big gains. Because I think Madison's talented enough to get it done. I think he'll just have the defense on their heels of their feet. I think that's what this is going to end up looking like. Not that the Vikings defense is so good they're going to shut White down. I just think the Bucks will be playing from behind and they'll have to throw and the run will be taken out of it.
White's got good pop though, so I mean he's a capable back to hit for 30 or 40 on a carry. I agree with you. I don't think that this is going to be a pretty game, basically for either one of them. I guess if I had to, I'd probably side with Madison just because of the experience level, not only within the offense. He's been there for 4 or 5 years now, but just his overall experience in the NFL. White being a new bell cow this year. We'll see how he plays out, but he's got like Tony Pollard type of pop. He's got juice in him, but I
There's
don't
potential
know
there, Al, yeah.
if this is I don't know. My expectations. I don't know what I'm going to get out of White. I'll just put it like that. So I would go with the proven commodity in Madison, and like you said, with the receiving core and just a better all around offense, he probably will have a better day.
All right.
Continue, Brady.
Continue. We're on to the next game here. Interesting one. You got the Tennessee Titans going in the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans a 3-point favorite here. But for me personally, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to go Tennessee Titans here. I know everybody wants to say Titans are falling off. They're moving on from people. But I still think you got to give the coaching nod to Vrabel. This is a well-coached team every year. Everybody wants to just throw them under the bus, but he gets these guys where they need to be, when they need to be. So I like Tennessee having the better coach team. I mean, Saints fans last year were asking for the head coach's head, saying let's get rid of this guy already. And then in the previous show, when we talked about the strengths and weaknesses of NFC teams, and I said the Saints, for me, their weakness was the D tackle position. They got a whole new, that was their weakest spot last year, and I think it's going to be their weakest spot again this year. They got whole new pieces. They got, Saunder and Shepard bringing over. They got the first round pick, Reese, and then they get to fight against King Henry. Like that's a tough dude to tackle between the tackles, and he's just going to run it down your throat. So I think Tennessee's going to win this on being better coached in a strong run game, and then just good coaching is going to give it some safe passes. You don't have to rely on Tannehill here. I'm going Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Tennessee Titans backfield. I like who they got back there. I like Chestnut. I like Spears. I like Henry. How could you not? He's king until he ain't. He's still 1,000-yard back. I'm going New Orleans Saints here. I'm gonna jump on the train. I'm gonna buy into the hype. They've absolutely have done nothing to prove to me right now, this second, that I believe that they're gonna come out and David Carr's gonna throw 4,000 yards this season. There's zero that's telling me that right now. I just think the guy's a baller. He's a gamer. He's gonna come over there and he's gonna produce. He's been going up against that defense. He's got some young talent over there. You can't deny Olave. You can't deny, they got some hitters in the backfield now, even though the one guy's going to be suspended for 3-4 games. Alvin Kamara, that's a blow. They pick up Williams from Detroit. 20-something touchdowns last year. Look, Carr's struggling. Hand it over to Williams and watch him run. Okay, this dude's a hitter. He's down there delivering blows. He ain't taking them, man. And that's going to fit well into this offense. It's going to help out Carr for the first 4 games until, they come back, till Kamara comes back and starts to help out that rotation. And now you don't know where it's coming from. I just think potential, it's there. Can it be there week 1? Will it be there week 1? I'm taking the mods. I'm taking week 1. New Orleans Saints against the Tennessee Titans. How about you?
I think this is going to be a great game. Brady, you're right. And I'm just listening to you talk. And, I'm going Saints, but I'm listening to you talk. And I kind of thought the same thing when even before the show, when I was making my picks and stuff. And I'm like, man, it's Tennessee. They're going to be well coached. If anybody can go on the road opening day and pull out a dub, they definitely could there with the Saints. Maybe things just get tight at the end, and the better executing team, which you would think would be the Titans, comes through. But then I think about who's at the helm of the Titans too, and that's Tannehill. I don't have a lot of faith in him. So I'm going to go Derek Carr. I'm going to go Saints. I dropped the 3 points. I think this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game considering you probably wouldn't think so from a Titans game, but Derek Carr looked really good in that offense when I seen him in the preseason. Very smooth. All their weapons are healthy as of right now. Obviously, missing Kamara is going to be a big deal, but you bring up Jamal Williams. That was an excellent sign for them in the offseason. And I think the Saints are a little too much at the end of the day, so I'm gonna stick with New Orleans on that.
All right, I just want to note it on the record that Charlie said that I was right. This doesn't happen very often, gentlemen. So I wanted on the record. I was told I was right for a little bit.
Let's go! It's a new year.
Yeah, it's New Year, baby.
We're nice to each other for once.
Let's go.
It's early in the show, though.
It is.
Week 1.
All right. No, I mean, I love what you guys are saying, but for me, prediction-wise, I'd said it in pre-show again, talking back about my weakness of New Orleans is I still don't think just because you added Derek Carr that this offense is going to have a rhythm yet. I think it's going to take some time for them to build up a rhythm and actually know how to move the ball efficiently. They have a tough defense. I'm not taking that away from them at all, but for me, ever since Breeze left, ever since Sean Payton left, it's been very quiet over there on the offensive side of the ball.
I
Yeah, for
agree.
Tennessee, if you can turn around and hand it to that stable of running backs led by King Henry, yeah, that's a nice thing to be able to lean on to manage a ball game that maybe you are an underdog in, and maybe you steal it and you go home with a dub. So, like I said, it's
I
not
see it.
crazy confidence. It's more of a perceived what I think I'm going to see at the end of the day.
All right.
But you
I
make a
see.
great argument.
I love it. I love it, gentlemen. Keep your ball rolling here. We got another divisional matchup, NFC South. Carolina Panthers going into the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta's got a pretty large 3.5 point lead here. But I mean, they got a good offensive line for the run game. They're a run team, probably top 5 run offenses in the league, if not better than that. And Carolina is still trying to work things out. You got a new head coach, Frank Reich, coming over. You got the new quarterback you just drafted. There's a lot to be proven here for the Carolina Panthers. So I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons just because their strengths got stronger, right? You added Bijan Robinson to add to your already really good run game. So I'm going to go with Atlanta Falcons. I don't think you're going to have to rely on Ritter to be throwing the ball too much here. So I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons. I think it's going to be another one of those low scoring games here. So I don't know if the 3.5, I think it might be right at the 3. Like maybe Young Ho kicks a field goal to win it. So I'm going to go Falcons.
So, yeah, Falcons, no doubt. I flipped a coin here, fell on Carolina. So I'm taking the Pamps here. I mean, when you start to look at it, the arguments that you would say the reason why you're not going to pick the other team is the same reason why you're not going to pick the other team. Both teams have unproven quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, Ritter didn't play that much last year, any hoot. So basically, it's like 2 rookie quarterbacks playing this season. You got a rookie running back for Atlanta trying to find his way and try to burst onto the scene. You got a running stable that's coming back with an acquisition of a new guy in Miles Sanders, who I think is already banged up already. I hope this Penn State running back can get it together and get on the field early and often because he's very talented, and I love to watch him run. Even though he was a pigeon, I still like to watch him run. But I took Carolina here. I like Bryce Young. I think he's going to be a stud. Maybe he can hit Mingo early and often. Who knows? Rookie to rookie, and they blow up this year, and he ends up being rookie of the year on some craziness no one ever even thought. No one even tried to say the name type craziness. I'm going Carolina here, but really it's a coin toss. How about you, Charzy?
I got to go Atlanta here because when I look at both the offenses, Brady brought it up about protecting Ritter. I don't think this is going to be a crazy high scoring game, but I look at the playmakers on Atlanta side versus the playmakers on the Panthers side, and the Panthers are missing McCaffrey. They're missing DJ Moore. Adam Thielen doesn't scare me. He can move the chains, but he doesn't scare me. You look at, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and now Bijan Robinson. All it's going to take is one missed tackle for one of those guys to take the distance. And I like the run game with Atlanta. They're going to be protecting Ritter, I feel like, better than Young is going to be able to be protected on the other side of the field. And if the Panthers are going to win this, they're going to have to go 8, 9, 10 play drives. And I just don't see the talent on the field for them to be able to do it. It's not so much of a knock on Young. It's just he's going to have to play flawless ball just about every game this season because the explosive talent is just not there. They stripped the cupboards so that they could get the top pick. They traded away the rest of what they had in the pantry to get the top pick. And this is what they got to deal with. And plus, you're dealing with a Frank Wright who's not exactly, a mastermind with scheming up big play offenses. If you can, look at his days with the Colts and stuff like that, they didn't strike fear in anybody. It was more predicated off the run, some play action passing and stuff like that. So, although I like Young, I don't think this is his day. I think it's a close game, though. I could see it being a field goal game too, but I think Atlanta takes it at the end of the day.
No doubt.
All right, gentlemen, I like it. It'll be fun. I mean, NFC South, I'm going to be watching that game just because I want to know what we're going up against throughout the season. But let's keep this ball rolling. AFC South now. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars going to the Indianapolis Colts. Jacksonville's a 5-point favorite here. Colts are obviously without Jonathan Taylor, he's sitting out, pup list, whatever their excuses over there. Management, you can throw it at the pinwheel. It's going to hit, and it's going to be a reliable source. But I like Jaguars here. Indy's just they're not ready. They're not ready in time. They got a lot to figure out really fast. Obviously, the quarterback there, Richardson, he's got to prove it in the NFL. He's a big question mark. They took a big risk taking him where they took him. And Jacksonville's on their way up. They got a good young defense that's coming together, and then their offense behind Lawrence is, things are starting to click now with Peterson at the helm. Coaching them smart, coaching them good play calling, not putting him at risk. So I like the Jacksonville Jaguars here, probably by more than the 5-point spread that they have.
Yeah, I mean, for me, man, that Indianapolis Colts boat, it's filling up fast with water. It's filling up fast. Okay? And this ship might be going down early. Okay? I don't know, man, but we're going to really get to tell what Indy's going to look like in the division, because this is a divisional game. A bunch of crazed wolves over there. I mean, these Jaguars are crazed right now. These are animals over there. They're not playing around. All right,
I forgot
they want to win.
They see each other again week 6. So pretty quick turn. Not as the quickest turnaround we've seen, but a pretty quick turnaround to reface each other. So we'll see how that plays out.
This is a huge game for not only Jacksonville but Indy as well. I mean, this is a divisional game. It's a very important game here, folks. There's very big implications. I know we're talking about week 1, but you're not playing 130 games here. You're playing 17. It's super important. You want to start winning early and often. I'm taking Jacksonville here. I've stretched this out long enough. I mean, Indy is just not. They're just not there. You heard it from Brady. I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars here. I don't know. How about you, Char?
Yeah, I got to go Jags too, and I agree with Brady. I think they cover at the end of the day. It's going to be a tough position for Anthony Richardson to come into his first start, because Jacksonville's going to score points, and that's going to make Anthony Richardson have to do more than I think they're ready for him to do, and probably he's ready to do. It's man, it's going to be tough. I wish the kid wasn't coming out the gate starting. Wish they just kind of let him come along little by little, kind of work him in behind Gardner Minshew in some spot type of situations, because I feel like that's the kind of offense they're going to implement with him, is a spot reliever type of offense. It's going to be bubble screens. It's going to be, QB options. And he's a dynamic athlete. He's got the ability to pop here and there, but if they find themselves down 14 points, 17 points, and they're going to ask him to do more with a pretty bare cover. We just got done talking about, the Carolina Panthers. There's not exactly explosive weapons there in Indianapolis either. And then you talk about bringing Jonathan Taylor out of the mix too on top of that. I think this is a tough spot for the Colts. Plus the Jags have owned them over the past 2-3 seasons. The Jags have been whipping up on the Colts. They've been Aaron Rodgers type of situation on them. So yeah, I got to go Colts. I got a quick question since we made it through.
Gotta go Jags.
Or yeah, Jags. Sorry. Since we made it through all the rookie quarterbacks, who do you think has the best debut out of the quarterbacks? Is it going to be C.J. Stroud against the Ravens, Bryce Young against the Falcons, or AR-15 against the Jaguars?
I think easy answer here is Young with the Panthers going against Atlanta. Just because I think defensively wise, he's facing the easiest defense.
True.
So he's going to have the most time to think compared to the others.
Okay.
I agree, I agree, Brady. I'm taking Young versus the Falcons as well. I don't know. How about you, Char?
I agree with both of you guys that the defense Young will be facing and just the game situation will probably be more advantageous. But I'm going to take C.J. Stroud because I feel like he's got the best running game behind him. And I think he's got the best overall protection to do well in this game, as opposed to like I was talking about, the cupboard being bare in Carolina, and just I feel not being ready. Richardson going into a situation to where he's probably going to be down multiple scores before his head can stop spinning. So I like CJ on this one.
Yeah. My second pick though would be Anthony Richardson. Only for the chance that he does live up to what Indy thinks he can be, right? If he's as dynamic as they think he can be, and has the arm strength to launch it, and I don't know, Alex Pierce is just down there wiry and catches it like a Scotty
Yep.
Miller with Tom Brady and stuff like that, then that can cause trouble, especially behind a good, I think, potential good coaching with Shane Steach in there. I like him. Combination of him with Richardson. I just think it's going to take a few weeks for them to work it together. I'm going to love when they face each other in week 6 and see how far the Colts have developed.
No
Sounds
doubt.
good.
But all right,
Respect.
let's keep the ball rolling here though. San Francisco 49ers going in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Probably one of my top 3 picks, games of the week. Because this is a battle of young
Good one.
QBs with great coaches, good running backs, and good defenses, just fighting each other, nitty gritty, old
Hell
school
yeah.
football. But for me, I think San Francisco, just based off of those things I just listed, San Francisco is just one notch on every category above the Steelers. I think they're just one notch better at QB, one notch better at coaching, one notch better at running back, one notch better at defense. If Nick Bosa was playing in this game, assuming like the contract situation clears up, I think it's San Francisco hands down. I think he causes too much of a problem against that weak O line of the Steelers. But if he doesn't play, that gives Pickett a little bit more time to work and think and move the ball around, and George Pickens can have a big day. But still, I'm going to go 49ers here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers as well. It's not that I don't believe in Pickett and believe in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think potentially week 1, the 49ers will be a little bit more ferocious. TJ Watt is coming back, and I think he's going to play this game. Is he playing in this game?
Oh yeah. Yeah, TJ's healthy.
See why he wouldn't be. I mean, he's still a stud as well. I just think potentially San Fran's just got a little bit more on both sides of the ball than they do. So I'm going to go the San Francisco 49ers here.
I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. I'm gonna go Steelers.
Ooh,
Nice.
Niners tend to start off slow, season wise, and Pitt was playing at a high level. Every preseason game I seen them play, Pickett was on point. He was sharp. And Pittsburgh, as you would imagine, the whole team looks like they're fired up and they bought into Mike Tomlin and them going to the playoffs. It feels like they already feel like they're good enough to win the division, which is a scary thing. I mean,
yeah,
getting people to believe that you're something maybe you're not quite yet, that's a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
And like I said, Niners tend to start off slow. They're already banged up and missing a couple of people. And I like Pittsburgh to steal this one ugly, 19-17. Yeah, so give me the Steelers.
Taking the
all
points?
right,
Yeah,
No
take it
doubt.
just to be sure. But yeah, I like Pittsburgh to sneak out the door with it.
Interesting. I'm not the only one swinging for fences on upsets here. I like it.
Got to. Got to.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's like some weeks there's like 90% upsets. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
NFL's crazy. Any given Sunday, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, but let's keep it going. Weird matchup here. Arizona Cardinals going into the Washington Commanders. Cardinals got a new head coach there, Jonathan Gannon. Hopefully that defense can be on the rise here because that they need it. Washington, similar on their offense, could use a little bit on the rise. They bring in over Eric Bellamy. Hopefully that helps out. But for me, it's a hard time for me seeing this Arizona Cardinals putting up numbers. Kyler Murray's not playing. You're basically back there with James Conner and Rondell Moore and I don't know who else, unfortunately.
Brown.
I'm gonna go Washington here. They're a 7 point spread here, second biggest spread of the weekend. That's a big spread, but I think it's only big because it's hard to envision the Cardinals scoring points, and I think it'll end up being something along the lines of like 20-7 or something along those lines. Like not pretty, but just enough to play football.
Yeah, you also didn't mention Hertz, not Hertz, Zach Ertz,
Mm,
Trey McBride, tight end, and also Marquise Brown they got over there. But
yeah,
the thing is,
Hollywood.
none of us even thought about naming a QB that wasn't Kyler. So for that, folks, that's why I'm out. Washington's playing with a spark. Seen them on the sidelines in the last preseason game. They edged out over on Baltimore there to get the Dubsky. I think that potentially they're playing with their hearts right now. They can come out week one swinging. Arizona's cutting everybody. They traded Isaiah Simmons. They're getting who you want them, you can have them. I don't know who's playing quarterback. There's just too many question marks. You got to ask too many questions. You're not going to get too many dubs, folks. I'm going Washington Commanders. I think they're finally in command week one. We'll see. Let's go. How about you, Chuck?
Yeah, Joshua Dobbs is drawing the start. Don't sleep on him because I mean he's got a lot of starts under his belt. I think it'll be serviceable. But yeah, what I seen out of the Commanders this preseason, I was pretty impressed. Sam Howell looked very comfortable in the offense. A couple of games that I watched him in the preseason. We've talked about it in our offseason show that the Commanders have playmakers, at running back and at wide receiver, and he looked capable of getting it in the hands of those playmakers. Big thing, McLaurin, I think, is still questionable, though. He might not play this week. That would be a big loss for them.
yeah.
I think the Cards find a way to make a couple of plays. I don't think they lay down flat. But, yeah, I got to go Washington at the end of the day here. Covering the 7 point spread, I guess they should. I don't know. I don't know. I got to see these two teams, but I'm definitely going Washington.
All right, I like it. All right, let's keep it going. That's the 1 o'clock games. So let's jump over 4 o'clock games now. Um, AFC West matchup here. Las Vegas Raiders, Jimmy G at the helm, new QB, new season. Going into Denver Broncos, new head coach there, Sean Payton making his NFL return. Hopefully fixing up Russell Wilson. Denver's a big 3.5 point favorite here, swing, which is kind of crazy because I'm pretty sure the Vegas Raiders won both games last season. So is that those two things are that much of a swing to say that Vegas drops and the Broncos rise? I mean, up to us, we'll see how the league plays it out, but I don't know. I'm gonna go Raiders here. The Denver Broncos are still in prove-it mode for me. I'm gonna go Vegas Raiders. They got Max Crosby. I know I said in the previous show with AFC that the Broncos, one of their best units is that offensive line that they reworked to help Russell Wilson, but Max Crosby's a different animal.
Dog.
So no matter who you put in front of him, he's going to make his way to give your quarterback a rough time. And Russell Wilson did not look good when he was pressured last season. So I think the Raiders edge this one out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised you took Raiders. I have zero things to say against Max Crosby. I am a fan. Him coming out of college, I was a fan. I'm just a Crosby fan, bro. Like, how do you not love dude? You know what I mean? Like, that's the guy you want on your side. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy is like determined. He's not gonna stop coming. Like, this dude's got a motor, and you don't. All right, I'm telling you right now.
I did this to you again, Ed. But again, there's another one of those teams, AFC divisional matchup. They don't play each other, another team, till week 18. So
Oof.
it'll be huge depending how the season plays out for them and where that ends up, because it's a to be determined time slot. Obviously, could potentially be a huge game on who gets them to go to the playoffs.
No doubt. Yeah. But that's exactly why I'm going to take Denver. I'm taking Denver here because, the same reason why you say, Denver's in prove-it mode. I'm in Jimmy G prove-it mode, to be honest. I mean, he was in an incredible system over for the 49ers to really help him out and allow him to get as much success as he can get. But when it comes time for him to step back and win it himself, I've yet to really see him consistently do that. And because of that, I'm out. I don't consistently think that this year, week one, he's going to come onto the new scene with a new squad and a new everybody and come out and do it. I still think that Crosby's going to be a problem. Okay, and I just hope that Russ definitely ties the cleats up tight because he's going to need to, because he'll be on the move against Denver. McGlinchey, or the offensive lineman that they got from the San Francisco 49ers coming over, they gave a big pretty penny to, and we're going to see if he's worth every penny. And the reason being is he's going to have to go up against that insane motor that I was just talking about in Crosby. So you better hope that the money you spent was well, because if not, we're going to find out week one how that offensive line is going to shape up and ship out moving forward. But I think potentially they can get it done. They'll edge it out. Denver with the win here. I like Denver, and I like the coaching staff. I really think they can turn things around quick. Look what they did with the Saints year two. I just think it could be a quick turnaround. You have a studded quarterback, another guy that got thrown to the curb, just like he did with Breeze. I see the same system coming in and implementing it with him and them being successful. Maybe it takes a season. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't at all. Maybe it's already happening, and we just can't see it. I'm taking the Denver Broncos here, Char. How about you?
It's tough, man. You look at the Raiders, and you got Garoppolo and you got Jacobs, and they're both dusty. They didn't get many reps in the
Is Jacobs
offseason.
playing?
Not sure if he's going to suit up or not. I think he's back in the fold. He did sign the contract, so he should be playing, but he didn't have any reps in the offseason, which is usually not too big of a problem for a running back, but something to monitor. Jimmy G, don't think he stepped foot on the football field as far as game action goes in the preseason. That type of stuff I don't like. The Raiders put up points with Aiden O'Connell, though, which is the rookie they drafted. So that definitely raised some eyebrows for me
Derek Carr
watching that
2.0.
happen. What's that?
I said Derek Carr 2.0, just his look-alike.
Possibly. I like the kid a lot. And then I look over at Denver, and what I saw a lot of Russ in the preseason was a lot of what I saw out of Russ last season. And you guys got Williams coming off the injury from last year. You did sign P. Ryan, so I like that safety blanket right there. Jerry Jeudy is banged up with a hammy, might go questionable. You lost Patrick already again, the other wide receiver for the season. So you're banged up all across the board.
Again.
I do ultimately side with Denver here. I do side with Sean Payton. And I think Denver comes out of this one. I'm really looking forward to the matchup between Surtain and Adams. I think that's going to be a banger of a matchup. I'd like to see him follow Adams and just shadow him the whole game, because it's really the guy that enables the Raider offense to keep it going and create big plays. So I'd like to very much to see that matchup. But yeah, I'm gonna go Denver. I wouldn't touch the 3.5 points because I think it's gonna be a close game. I'm going Broncos.
Going Broncos. All right, I'll be the lone Raider of the bunch.
I can see the Raiders winning. I could, because I mean, you're right. Prove to me that you can score over 17 points, because you didn't do that all last season, and the team hasn't changed. You brought Sean Payton in, and that's supposed to change it. That's it. The offensive line piece, that Eddie mentioned, they picked up another offensive lineman. I don't think the offensive line was necessarily the problem. I mean, Russ was under some pressure, but he wasn't making good decisions last year. Like he was just sitting on routes too long. He was just undecisive. He looked very uncomfortable the whole season. Like, it never got better. I kept on thinking, all right, he's going to get it together, this new situation, all this stuff. But he never looked good at any point last season. I think one game against the Chiefs, him and Judy hooked up a couple of times, and they put up like 28 points and got a scare into KC. But that was it.
All right. It'll be fun, divisional matchups are always good. So,
Yes,
but
sir.
let's keep it going. Another one of my favorite games of the week here.
This one.
Miami Dolphins going in the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are a 3-point favorite here. And I think I'm going to stick with Chargers here. I like the Chargers here. I think they can score just as fast as the Miami Dolphins can. My thing is the Chargers' weakness was the run last season, right? But Miami, they're banged up on running back right now, and their only healthy running back is the 10th year vet Raheem Mostert, who's battled injuries himself. So he's one bad run from them not having a running back and looking like San Francisco without a quarterback there in in that NFC Championship game. So it could turn semi ugly here for them if they don't have a good run game, because that's what they're going to need to build off of, I think, to slow down the Chargers. I think the Chargers have too many weapons, um, and especially with Miami's defense, they're a little banged up. They obviously lost Ramsey, so let's see what this defensive backs looks like minus him. Can they cover all these wide receivers and all these weapons? So I'm going to go Chargers here until Miami can show me that they can cover this high scoring of an offense and compete with them.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have A-Chain battling the shoulder all season because he's a smaller framed guy. You're right about that. I think Waddle might be waddling into this game. I'm not sure if he's even going to play. We also got Jeff Wilson put on IR, wide receiver / running back type, who's done for the season before we've even started. So yeah, you got Miami chipped up coming in, but you got Tyreek Hill. He will be playing in this game. I'm gonna go Miami Dolphins here. I think that
Oh, you did
Seattle.
it.
I mean,
Hit him with a
Seattle. I'm
Porky
going
Pig
Miami
pick.
Dolphins here. I think that the Chargers. I think that the Chargers potentially could stay in it with them, but I think this Miami defense is still absolutely ferocious, even without Wilkins playing. I don't think Wilkins is playing, right? I think that that's going to be huge. I still think they're good though. They're not going to have the number one corner that they got in the trade coming over with Jalen Ramsey, and I think they'll be out with Wilkins because of contract issue. But I still think that I feel the same way about this Chargers team with the defense and show me and prove it and all of that with all the acquisitions and free agents they had a season ago. They had a pretty good draft, I'm not going to lie. They drafted like half a TCU. I think potentially they could end up having a good season, but I don't know if it'll be week one. I'm going to pick Miami here because I expect that Miami defense to come out swinging. I think they're ferocious on offense and defense, and I think it's going to be a good game. I'm going the Dolphins.
Looking it up real quick on Christian Wilkins. Looks like he's going to be playing.
Oh,
He was holding out contract issue, like you said. But from ESPN's
that's
report
huge.
8 days ago,
That's
looks like
huge.
he's going to play.
That's huge. That's
Um,
huge.
for, for me, I'm going Miami. You're not wrong about the running back room being banged up,
Yeah.
Brady. But this team was built to be like the 49ers, which is plug in another guy. They got Ahmed, they got Mostert. Those are the two healthy backs. Those are the backs that are going to be thrust into action. Not crazy about those two guys, don't get me wrong, but the speed that they possess on the outside with Tyreek Hill. I know Waddle's banged up. I'm not sure if he's going or not, but they did sign Braxton Berrios, who can make some plays. I think this is a game they might miss not having Gesicki because he was always a nice, reliable weapon. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I think the offensive mind, I think I trust McDaniels over the coaching staff of the Chargers at the end of the day, though. And what did the Chargers get out of J.C. Jackson? They had their safety, Nassim Adderley. He up and retired at the beginning of the offseason on the Chargers. J.C. Jackson coming back from probably his worst year as a pro last year, including injuries. Can he be someone that they can depend on to kind of shore up that secondary too? And I think Miami's pass rush is going to get after Herbert. I think they're going to cause the Charger offensive line some problems. And I like Miami to execute better than the Chargers ultimately do throughout the whole game. and I'm gonna take the Fins.
We talked
All right.
about Wilkins, but we didn't talk about Jalen Phillips. He's another one that's going to be coming off that edge who I just really like and is another ferocious individual. I just think that they're really talented on both sides of the ball. Not that the Chargers haven't, but it's just how I feel, Brady, about how you feel about Denver. It's like, friggin' prove it, dude. Like, we know you got the talent. It's
Yeah,
there. Can you
Yeah,
just make it
it's true.
translate? That's how I feel about it. But I
It's
do
true.
have Herbert having an incredible year though this year,
Yeah. You
especially
guys
with them
also,
kids from TCU.
yeah. You also failed to mention, Miami still has Chubb too on that edge. So
Oh
yeah. That Nick
yeah, damn,
Fangio
yeah,
defense is fast and active, and it's gonna be a problem. But if any quarterback can handle it, it's Justin Herbert. I mean, kid's amazing. Kid's
yeah,
amazing. I
no doubt,
doubted him coming out of
yeah,
college, but kid lights out.
yeah.
He's
no
lights
doubt.
I
out.
mean, last year break my ribs. I'm gonna finish the game and still play the next 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to see him be healthy this year because
yeah,
some of the
absolutely.
throws last year, I remember watching him play on Monday night against KC, and I'm just like, there's only a handful of guys ever that could make some of the throws he was making. And yeah,
and the
so he's
Chargers
he's
are
fun to
really
watch.
starting to build an offensive line over there with the guys that they've been drafting out of Georgia, out of Northwestern. I mean, they got some studs, absolute studs on that offensive line. Boston College. I just really think that they're trending in the right direction, but it's like just show me and be consistent with it. I think it's because of the division they're in. To be honest, I mean, it's one of the best divisions in football. I mean,
Yeah,
they're solid teams in that division
For
across the
sure.
board. And I mean, if you're not hitting on all cylinders, man, it's really going to show. And it has been for the past couple seasons for the Chargers, just falling short, just right. They're going to, and they run out of gas, man, and they fall short. It's almost like a Tesla on a long run, man, and there's no plugs in between, man. You guys got to figure it out.
yeah. It should be game of the week. So we'll see. I'm
I
loving that
agree.
game. That one's gonna be on the TV for sure. But
No
let's
doubt.
Watch.
move on here. Interesting game. Lots of question marks. With you got the Philadelphia Eagles going to the New England Patriots. Philly's a 4-point favorite here, and this is something we've brought up. All off season is what's this Philly team going to look like with two new coordinators, right? I said it before. Shane Steichen was the saving grace for that Philly team and changing that offense. And he's gone over to Indy now. So what's this Eagles offense going to look like? And the Patriots defense and the Patriots coaching staff isn't exactly the first team you want to face when you're testing out what your offense is going to look like.
Well
So
said.
I'm still going to take Philly here. I'm going to take the Eagles. They're a better, talented team. But I think this is going to be a low scoring game. I think this is going to be something along the lines of almost like Philly versus Indy last year, where like Indy's got a 14-0 lead to like the late third quarter. Then all of a sudden Philly scores 21 points and wins the game.
Yeah.
And then you got the head coach jumping on bleachers, yelling at fans and stuff like that. But it'll be interesting. I do have Philly here just because they're more talented, more athletic. But I think it's going to be a hard fought game. I think Patriots are going to give them everything to fight against.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. This is a solid coaching staff you're going up against in New England. But, I think Mac Jones is, one season away from throwing his way off the Patriots roster. They just went and did a sneaky little free agent acquisition signing by drafting a year-one quarterback by the name of Matt Corral out of Ole Miss from the Panthers, who drafted him high a season ago. And I just think potentially, with this interior of the defensive line of what they got going on in Philly, you're not going to run the ball. You're going to have problems dropping back. You're going to be playing from behind. I think these are all going to be situations that are going to be unavoidable for the New England Patriots. I think this is going to be a tough game for the Patriots coming in, no matter how tough their game plan is going to be. There's just elite talent and elite speed on the other side of the ball. I think Hurts will make fewer mistakes than Mac will. For that, I'm edging it out to Philly just out of sheer stars and talent on that side of the ball, and because I just think that Hurts is a better quarterback than what I've seen from the body of work since Mac's been on the New England Patriots. I don't know. How about you, Char?
I picked a couple of upsets so far this week, and this is probably the biggest one that I'll take. I'm gonna take Pats. I'm gonna go scheme, discipline, and just overall coaching. I like this Patriots defense a lot. I know what I'm gonna get out of them. They're gonna make life hard on New England to move the ball consistently. I expect them to play disciplined to where they're not going to get beat off of play actions and a lot of this trickery that Philly does like to run. Not to say, with the talent that Philly possesses, they're going to make some plays. That's not something that I doubt. But Judon, the crew, the secondary that they got, just the overall pass rush and again the discipline. I don't like Mac Jones. That's no secret, definitely not. But I think they're going to be able to create enough offense, and I think they end up winning this game at the end. I think it's close. I think it's pretty low scoring, like Brady said too. Um, the 45-point total seems about right between the two. Maybe a tad high, but yeah, give me the Patriots. I'll take the Patriots
Hey,
Interesting.
in Foxborough.
fantasy alert is Ezekiel Elliott. You think gonna be a fantasy option in week 1? Do you think that would be a good start to throw in to try and get you 10 points?
He's touchdown dependent. I think when they get down to the goal line, he's gonna get the ball in his hands. So I could see him scoring a touchdown. 10 points, maybe not, but I could see it. I could see it. I could see him catching a couple of passes out of the backfield. I mean, they brought him on. He's gonna play. In back of Ramondre, there's not much depth there, and I don't think they want Ramondre to touch the ball as much as he did. And Zeke's had success against Philly. That's been one of his better teams to play against over the years. So it's possible. It's
Yeah,
possible.
I was just gonna say, like, Bill Belichick being the evil mastermind of the Death Star that he is, that Emperor Palpatine kind of guy, that he brought over Ezekiel Elliott just for this Week 1 matchup, knowing that he's got
Right?
a dude that knows how to play
Hey,
against Philly.
To
that's
cut him week
script.
2.
That's
Yeah,
script work right there. That's script
yeah.
work right there.
Everyone's expecting Ramondre Stevenson, and then all of a sudden, knowing the Patriots and how they play, here's Ezekiel Elliott getting 37 touches and just running for
I like it.
200
I
yards.
like it. I like
Man,
it. Let's go, Brady.
Um, But back to when you had mentioned Matt Corral, they picked him up from the Panthers. That's a funny situation because the Panthers traded the New England Patriots picks to draft Matt Corral. Matt Corral never played a down for the Patriots or for the Panthers, and now Bill Belichick and the Patriots get both the picks and Matt Corral for basically free.
Shit.
crazy world. Yeah, the Panthers have been shooting themselves in the foot for years now,
Yeah.
And it hasn't
unfortunately.
stopped.
No, no.
All right,
It,
but that'll be a fun matchup. Just a coaching. You want to see what's going on there for both sides of that ball.
yes,
That'll
yes.
be an interesting match to see how that plays out. But let's
Agreed.
jump over here. You got another divisional big game, NFC North. Green Bay Packers going to the Chicago Bears. Chicago's got a 1-point favorite here at home. They don't see each other again. Another one. Not till week 18. This is
Wow.
crazy.
Really?
There's three of
Wow.
them. There's three of them. Divisional matchups. They don't see each other again until the last game.
Wow.
And so do the Packers still have Chicago's number? That's the question. Is Eberflus a good coach? Is LaFleur a good coach? That's the question. I believe in the GM polls over there for Chicago. He's picked up great acquisitions. He drafted the right guy there and right in the first round to help out Justin Fields, but Eberflus there in that defense. I mean, let's not forget. We can hype up the Chicago Bears all we want. They still finished last in the league last year. Despite I understand you added some pieces here. So until it's another one of those prove it teams. I'm probably going to regret it, but I'm taking Packers here because I need the Bears to prove that they're ready to play football. So I'm going Green Bay Packers because I think it's going to be a safer game plan. Love won't be running for his life as much as Fields will be because they're still piecing together what they're doing on offense there, I think, for the Bears. So I'm going to go Packers here on the safe pick. But Week 18, when it comes to that matchup, I can see the Bears taking it, and maybe taking them to the playoffs over the Green
No
Bay
doubt.
Packers.
No
Like
doubt.
that.
I'm liking the Chicago Bears here. I'm all in on the trades. I'm all in on the acquisition. of the receiver coming over from the Panthers. Absolute stud. I think that the running game this year is going to need to stay healthy for him to be successful. You know, I really like Herbert and what he brings to the table in the backfield for them, but I need him to stay healthy. I'm still going Chicago here. I think the tides begin to turn here. I think that this is the season where we really start to see how talented Justin Fields is. I think that we're gonna see it week 1. I'm going Chicago Bears here. I like it.
This one, I think this could be the
Hardest game
game
to
of the
pick.
week. I think this
Hard,
could be the game of the week. Yeah, it is.
hardest game.
I think it's going to be a 1 or 2 point game. I think it's going to come down to the end. I'm a go Bears, but I can very easily see in the scenario that you just painted out with the Packers winning and the Bears becoming the better team
Just
down
because
the
of how
road.
good that defense is.
I think about what Eddie said, mentioned a couple of shows back, and he was talking about finding an identity for Chicago, and that really hit home when trying to make a prognosis of the Bears season and stuff like that. There are still things that they need to figure out. And Green Bay looked pretty good on offense under Jordan Love in the preseason. So I think this is going to be a banger of a game. I think they both get to the 20s. I think you're going to see a little bit of everything. I think you're going to see some turnovers. I think you're going to see some wow splash big plays. And at the end of the day, you're going to see a quarterback that we haven't seen yet have a game-winning drive, basically. Because as good as Justin Fields was breaking out last season, they still were losing games, and the talent wasn't there. And Eddie mentioned all the pieces that they brought into the field for them now. We'll see how that all plays out. We'll see how Jordan Love is ready to take over, the ship from Aaron Rodgers now. And I think this is going to be an absolute must-watch game. There's lots of good games, but this one really stood out for me. I'm going to take Bears at the end of the day, 24-23.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that this is where we really see how good DJ Moore is. I think DJ Moore is going to come over and he's going to allow everything else to just unfold for Fields, and Fields will see things a lot slower. He's year what is this
Like
year
that.
3 in the league. I think that potentially with the acquisition of this receiver, getting Mooney back, getting everybody back. Everybody's vitalized. You got some offensive linemen and some acquisitions here that are going to help out moving forward. You got the middle linebacker coming over from Buffalo. I think that potentially this young team could start hitting. I think they could, man. And he's going to be the catalyst behind it, because once he gets going, the team's going to get going and it'll be infectious. And I think it'll all because of Fields.
I like the thought process behind that. Having a guy that you can depend on when it's crunch time or you need a first down, like DJ Moore, it, it's a very well
It's a
said.
game. It changes the game. It's a game changer because everybody else could still be
Confidence.
what they are. You know what I mean? And Mooney can still go and do Mooney things, and you're gonna have to account for DJ, which is gonna allow Mooney to be a little bit more Mooney-esque. He won't have to be so number one. It's look at me. It'll be more natural going to Mooney if DJ's covered. And I mean the run game,
Agreed.
it'll help out because now you have threats, you have people you gotta pay attention to. It won't be just flood the line and make Justin throw it. You know what I mean?
How do you feel
It'll
about that,
change.
Brady?
So again, I think Chicago is the more athletic, more talented team, but I don't think they're the better coach team. And so I think it's going to be a tough fight, regardless of if you have um, Mooney playing better and DJ Moore opening up the field or Chase Claypool on the outside. It's still Green Bay's got a tough defense. I think they're
Well, just
Chicago.
just more off for the maturity of a young quarterback, having a veteran wide receiver that they can depend on, similar to how Diggs helped out Josh Allen and certain situations like that. Like, do you feel like that's a good type of situations to help Fields with his, being more comfortable when it comes down to those pressure type of situations, having somebody to depend on?
Yeah, I mean, anything. I think anything is a huge improvement off of last year, right? And adding someone like DJ Moore is going to be huge because he was getting blitzed nonstop, was on the run nonstop. So if he can just get the ball out to a slant to DJ Moore, who you saw in the preseason turned a 5-yard catch into a 65-yard touchdown, that's gonna slow down defenses coming at Fields. And I said that was going to be the recipe for them to win is allow Fields to open up. So if DJ Moore does that, then it can do it. But again, it's still prove it situation for me.
Sure. And
I
that's
mean, there's
again the potential's there. I'm not gonna lie, it's absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they had an incredible draft. I really think they do. Travis Bell, D tackle, Kennesaw State. I mean, I really like Javon Dexter. You talked about Wright out of Tennessee. Traquan Stevenson, corner out of Miami Hurricanes. The U playing very well. Zach Pickens out of South Carolina. You got
he was getting after it in the preseason.
Yeah, you got Roscoe Johnson out of Texas who can run. You got Swells out of Oregon. You picked up a wide receiver out of Cincinnati, Scott. You picked up another DB out of Minnesota's Terrell Smith. You got another DB, Kendall Williams out of Stanford. I mean, they got some guys. It's a young team. If it can get infectious around one guy, which is, Justin Fields, I think, man, when everybody's playing on the same, that's what makes me push so hard about Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, again, I want to see Fields in this offense do well, but behind Eberflus, it's hard for me to believe in it. And I think Ryan Poles maybe cuts him halfway through the season, and then they move on, and they may start looking good or something. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and the offense just clicks. But I think it's a tough go around. They have a hard. They have some steep stairs to walk up.
It's tough for Brady to let go.
Yeah, but Brady hasn't been wrong a lot. So when it comes to the coaches,
100%,
Brady has not been wrong when it comes to. I mean, he's called it so many times already.
Hell no, especially not with the GMs. Yeah,
so, I agree. I mean, we'll see.
You got me listening,
Brady. As much as I give you trash about Fields, and we've gone, previous shows arguing about Fields, and I said he was going to be garbage and yada yada yada. I'll give the man his talent. That dude's athletic as can be, top tier of the NFL. But until you give that man an offense he can work in, he's still a bottom tier offense.
That's true.
Regardless of how well he plays, it's a bottom tier offense.
Zero debate about that.
Not wrong.
All right, but let's go. We got the final 4:00 game here. You got the Los Angeles Rams going to the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's this 5-point favorite here. And when I was looking at this, man, I started circling Rams. I'm like, man, they're healthy. They're getting back to going. Because I look back last season, right? Seattle barely won both of those games. And this was against an injury-riddled Los Angeles Rams team. I mean, one game was in overtime that they beat them in. Like, it wasn't pretty. And now you're getting a healthy Los Angeles Rams. But then I go back to why I thought Nick Bosa was going to be the leading sack leader. And it's because the Rams have the second worst offensive line in the league. And I think... And Seattle is secretly one of the top 10 defenses in the league. And so I think that's just going to give them trouble. And it may not be the prettiest game, but I had to switch over. I had to cross off my Rams winning. I had to select Seattle Seahawks just because I think it's not going to be pretty. And I think Pete Carroll finds a way to continue this Geno Smith train of making him look better than he ever did. And they're going to win the game. And it's because the Rams are still licking their wounds. I mean, Cooper Kupp's still not 100%. That offensive line's not going to give Stafford enough time to think. So I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks for now. I can't say the Rams are returning back to Super Bowl caliber. I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm over here reading an article right now on ESPN that was posted on September 4th. He's up in Minnesota checking out a specialist about his hamstring. He's still day to day, but the Hawks were playing out of their mind last season. I expect that coaching staff to have them on pace to continue how they played a season ago. You'd like to see Geno Smith come out and be the guy he was a season ago. We don't know if he can do that. We'll find out this season. We'll find out week 1. I'm going to take the chance here. I'm going to go Seattle. They're young. They're talented. They're on fire. I think they're going to keep it rolling from a season ago. Will they be a playoff contender? I don't know, but I think they're the winner week 1. Char, how about you?
Yeah, Brady, I really like the under on this one too. The total's 46.5. I like this to be a grimy game. I think Cam Akers is going to be able to run the ball against the Seattle front. Um, Seattle does possess a couple of pass rushers that I would take note of. The secondary is excellent, although Witherspoon I don't think is going to play. The rookie they drafted out of Illinois, but they've got plenty of depth there, so I really don't think they're going to miss a beat. Minus Cooper Kupp is going to be an issue. I doubt he plays off of that hamstring. I'd be very surprised. Behind Cooper Kupp, it's tough, but they are, besides Kupp, they're healthy. That young defense, I think that could be a problem for the Rams. I did the same thing as you. I mean, I had the Rams circled both games last year, and they were close, and I never really fully bought into the Seahawks. I still haven't signed that official "you're legit" card in my book yet for them either. I think it's a really close game. Seattle should win it. I'll take the Seahawks here, but I would not be surprised at all if they this is a divisional matchup. McVay, Carroll, these are always grimy games in this division. So I wouldn't be surprised the Rams were able to sneak a win. I had the Rams underlined. I think I just squeaked it out by going ahead with Seattle because there is more talent there. You're right, Eddie. But I wouldn't be surprised the Rams won. But I'll go Seahawks here.
Yeah,
Neither would I.
week 1 picks are so hard to do, man.
For
I would
real.
much rather this be week 11 when they face each other again, and we get to see what these teams actually are. And then even
For
then, it
sure.
would still be a tough pick, but at least you get to see what you're working with. Like, is this Rams offensive line that bad? Is Geno Smith actually that good? You get all these big question marks you can answer, but give me 5 weeks of film, let me look at something. But it's hard.
For
It's
sure.
hard.
For sure. Agreed.
All right, let's jump in Sunday Night Football.
Here's
Here we
another
are.
game.
You got the Dallas Cowboys, NFC East big matchup here. Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants. Dallas is 3.5-point favorite here in MetLife in the Giants. They don't see each other again till week 10. I'm gonna go Cowboys here. I think they cover the spread, and I think that's a hard fought game. I think they battle each other to the teeth, but until the Giants can show that they can score off of something other than great coaching, give me a wide receiver that breaks out. I think the Cowboys have that ability to where, hey, CeeDee Lamb's going to catch a 60-yard bomb and score a touchdown. The Giants don't have that yet. You need a breakout candidate for them. Maybe Waller's that guy, but, and it opens up the middle of the field, and then Slayton opens up on, outside corners or something. But it's still wait and see. Giants are a well-coached team. I love Dable, but I think they're just outmatched here against the Cowboys. So I'm going to go Cowboys here. They won both games last year, and unless the Giants prove me otherwise, I think Cowboys win both games this year in the division.
No doubt. Brady, I like it, with all due respect.
You don't like it, but you agree.
It tastes terrible, though.
Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go New York Giants. I'm gonna take the New York
I
Giants.
love it.
I'm going to take New York
Stick with your
Giants
team,
week-
unlike me. Stick with your team, unlike me, man.
I'm going to take the New York Giants week 1, and I'm going to give you a little bit why. You said give you a receiver to make a play. I say it doesn't necessarily have to be a receiver. It could be a tight end. And we got Darren Waller this year that we didn't have a season ago. And then we went and we got some bastard childs that maybe some other guys, some other teams, they didn't want them. So we went and we got Isaiah Simmons because the team that drafted him didn't want him. And then they had Boogie. He just hasn't produced enough. He just hasn't done enough on the field. He just hasn't outshined his pick. So he gets traded to the New York Giants. So we're accumulating talent. And I think that this season, like you said, how well and how coached this team is, with the acquisition of Darren Waller, the acquisition of Jalen Hyatt, another guy who's being talked about just as though Isaiah Simmons is, who he's not a first round draft pick. He's a bust. That's why he got traded. Maybe Boogie's being looked at the same way. You got some other guys on the roster. Ashawn Robinson got let go by another team. He's a journeyman. You got Roach on the team. Nacho, he's from the Bucks, a journeyman. You got these guys. They're all still young. They all still got gas in the tank. And the thing that you said about Dallas that they were able to do against the Giants a season ago was the secondary, which was not holding up well against Dallas and in the division. They were really letting up a lot of points. But this season, we got 2 DBs that got drafted, one very early, one very late. One that got drafted late at an old Dom, Trey Hawkins III, a 6th-round draft pick, worked his way all the way up this offseason to become the starter. 6'3" with elite speed and very physical. And I watched him run with that wide receiver out of Alabama on the Detroit Lions, and that kid could not shake Trey Hawkins. And I don't think CeeDee Lamb could either, because he's not a burner. I don't think he's quick, okay? I think Trey Hawkins could definitely run with him. If Trey Hawkins was running with Jameis Williams and Paddock came down and snatched the ball because Williams was still worried about getting away from Hawkins, who was on his hip the whole game, that now is a starter. Plus you got the dude they draft out of Maryland, Banks, to come in and be a solid corner, who's another physical guy that's able to play. And you still got a Dory who's a healthy and able body and ready to do it. My question really is at safety. That's the real question. Because you're going to have your boy from Bama playing, okay? He's going to be there, okay? McKinney's playing. I'm not worried about that. It's can Paddock live up to the hype of going from being a practice squad guy, not good enough on Washington or the Jets, and here he comes now. He's on the Giants. Another guy that somebody didn't want. He's a Giant now. Man, these are all things that could really make a cohesive unit and get everybody together and say, hey, what about us? Let's start making noise. I don't know if it could be done week 1. I'm a fan. I'm buying in. I'm taking them week 1 over Dallas. I don't know, Char. How about you?
Hold on. Sorry. Before I started to cut you off, Char. Man, I love it, Eddie, because you sound just like me week 1 last year when it was the Bucks versus the Cowboys, and you guys were like, oh, Cowboys are going to destroy the Bucks. I don't care. It's Tom Brady. They're going to destroy them. And I sat here and I laid you out an exact game plan of why the Bucks were going to win that game. I said, you guys were like, oh, well, Ryan Jensen's banged up, and da-da-da-da, and Tristan Wirfs will have his day against Michael Parsons, and yada-yada. And I said, no, it doesn't matter, because the Dallas Cowboys have been more banged up on all-line. And we sit here, we've been back and forth. And you sound exactly the same way I did last year. So I love the argument, Eddie. I love it, man. I'm not going to switch my pick. The Bucks did win. Did win. I'm not going to switch my pick, but I love it, Eddie. I love your.
Thank you, Brady. Thank you.
Giants, I was just talking about Seattle. I couldn't, I'm not ready to sign off on official. Giants, I'm ready to sign off on official. I'm not going to say they're officially like legit,
right,
but they're official. The foundation, I can see it. I can see the foundation taking form. They're building now. They're building on top of that. They still got a ways to build, but they're building nice pieces. All those players you mentioned, great additions. You bring in young talent and see if you can help mold them a la Bill Belichick's. All the greats have been able to bring in off-cast misfits and give them a spot and put them in the right position to be successful. And all across the board, I see nothing but Giants players buying into the coaching so far, from Daniel Jones to Saquon taking the money to, whoever it is. This team buys in. They're young, they're well coached, and they're going to be a problem this year. It's going to be the proof of what we kind of were like. I don't know. They had a weak schedule last year. They kind of eked by this type of stuff. I think they're going to take a step in the right direction. This game, I don't think that this is their game. Dallas was weak at wide receiver. They had some holes in the secondary. They shored that up with Brandon Cooks and Gilmore on the other side. I think it's going to be a very tough matchup to start off the season with the Giants. I think they're going to be extremely game, no doubt about it. I think they're going to be game for 4 quarters instead of 3 quarters last year. And at the end of the day, though, I look at Dallas and there's just so much talent across the board. I think it's going to take a little bit to come together. You talked about identity with the Bears. This is a new identity. I feel like it's forming with the Giants. It's going to be more with Daniel Jones, and I think he's going to rise to the occasion. But against this defense, I'm a little worried that it's going to be enough. I don't know if they're going to be capable to keep up. I think Dallas put some points on the board. I think both of these teams get in the 20s. I think the Giants can cover that 3.5-point spread, though. I think Cowboys win by a field goal, maybe 4 points, maybe 5 points, but I think it's a very good game, and I don't think that it's necessarily write off for Cowboys both wins again this season. But this game, I got the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think it's, obviously it's a hell of a stretch, right? I mean, but the elite
I don't think so.
the
Like,
elite
the Giants
speed
are closing.
the elite speed that the Giants drafted is just really what I think is, and the fact that the two of them are dogs, like neither one of them are going to shy away from contact. Neither one of them are going to let you just run. Not saying that they're tons of DBs in the league that are. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that that's what these two are known to do. Like that's what
But
they were talked about doing in college.
The receivers they're going to go up against are not going to be Jamison Williams fly routes. They're going to have to stay with a very skilled route runner in CeeDee Lamb and a very veteran savvy Brandon Cooks. It's going to be a different monster for them to handle these young corners. Are they capable? Yes, the talent is there. You're absolutely right. But this is not let's sprint 40 yards down the field and I'm going to stay in your hip pocket. This is going to be fake in, cut out, and then all of a sudden I'm cutting up on the post. It's going to be a very different experience for them. It's going to be good for them, and I think they can have some success because the athleticism that Hawkins possesses and the sheer length, that's going to cause problems for receivers.
Yeah, I mean he's
But I don't think
6'3" and he can fly. The
But it's
dude's
not just
elite.
about the straight on speed here when you're dealing with these two receivers. I think that's why they're going to find avenues. And then, you've got Tony Pollard, which is a squeaker out the backfield. You did bolster your linebacking core, but Giants are going to have to play a very disciplined style of defense to not let big plays happen because the Cowboys got weapons. It's not maybe explosive weapons necessarily, but they're crafty, get open, make big play type of
Right,
weapons.
but where we were lacking a season ago, we have elite speed now. And
For sure.
on top of the elite speed, you signed Okereke, so you have that Bobby Okereke. You got the elite speed, and now you got the tackling and the decision making in a linebacker that we've been missing for quite some time. I didn't name him before in all the acquisitions. When I was naming acquisitions, I can't believe it slipped my mind. It should have been the first. But you also add elite speed at a position where he could play safety and be the fastest person on that defense. He can play linebacker and be the fastest person on that defense. He could be our Micah Parsons type individual where he's being sent off these stunts off the edges and things of that nature down the middle, where we haven't had that speed like that before. I just think that with the coaching staff and how this talent's going to be used on the defense, you're going to have to account for the New York Giants. They're not going to be a pushover anymore. You'll start talking about some other teams like that moving forward this season.
Man, I love it. I'm just having flashbacks, man, of exactly 1 year ago, man. I'm just having nothing but flashbacks here. Me arguing for the Bucks. You got the passion. You got the receipts. You're checking it. You got all the knowledge, all the research of your team.
I mean, the
why your
handful
team's
of things
going to beat the Cowboys, man.
I love the handful of things like Kayvon Thibodeau coming into this season, going through a whole entire offseason and playing in the preseason and being healthy, coming into week 1 being healthy. Being with that squad, Ojulari being healthy, being with that squad, like everybody's there. You got all the talents there. So these guys are well coached, like you said, and they'll be ready week 1 at home. These boys don't want to lose.
No doubt.
You're gonna have Dexter Lawrence. It's gonna be a
this is You made the argument. This is why it's Sunday Night Football. It'll be a hell of a game.
For
And hey,
Hell yeah.
I'm rooting for you just for the passion of it. But I want to win these picks,
Shazy.
so I'm going to pick Dallas.
You should buy me wings that night.
Yeah.
Woo.
But hey, let's
Ease
jump
my
over.
pain.
Let's jump over here. Monday Night Football, and we got back-to-back bangers here in MetLife Stadium. Watch out,
sure.
New York, New Jersey, because you're going to be on fire if things don't go well. You know, you got the Buffalo Bills here going into the New York Jets. You know, Buffalo's a 2.5-point favorite here. But, man, you get to find out whether this Jets team is a full turnaround or if Buffalo's still red hot. It's going to be another lights-out game. But for me, looking at this game, I got to go Buffalo. I got to agree with the 2.5, if not more, solely for the history of Aaron Rodgers in week ones. They're not pretty. Let's look back. They're not pretty. He got blown out by New
Wow.
Orleans. You know, he got blown out the year before that. I forget. I think Minnesota. I forget. But yeah, it was, week ones. I don't know. But maybe it's different now. He's on a team that he wants to be on. He practiced in the offseason. He went to
He's happy.
OTAs.
He's
He's
definitely
happy.
happy.
He went to OTAs. He didn't sit out like, yeah, I'm a veteran. I'm not going to show up. This is my team. I don't got to show up. You practice for me. I'm not practicing for you. Now he's there. Maybe it's different.
Yep.
I don't know. But I'm going to go history repeats itself, and the Bills blow him out just because of that.
Wow.
Just because of that. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to see the Jets, keep it going, but they'll face each other week 11, and I think Jets take week 11, but I think week 1 it's the Bills.
That's the sauce to end the show right there. Good, well said. I like it.
I'm taking the Jets.
Ooh,
Taking the Jets.
cold water on this.
Taking the Jets.
Why are you going Jets, Eddie? Why?
I'm taking the Jets because I'm believing the hype. They got Dalvin Cook starting. I think that the kids are ready to go, man. You know, he's another one up in New York, man, that got thrown to the curb. 1,000-yard back. Imagine that. Imagine you were 5th in the league in rushing, top 5 rusher, and you get cut because, your team needs $20 million. I mean, you telling me he ain't got a chip week 1? Is he not got a chip week 1? Look, if this dude don't got a chip week 1, he's not a competitor. So I'm going New York Jets here. I mean, all the acquisitions and all the shit that
there it is.
Aaron Rodgers talked out of the side of his neck against the New York Giants and everyone else that he's just got the friggin' hole in the side of his face and it just comes out. It just can't not come out. So with all that, you would hope at this point this man can back it up. So for that, I'm thinking week 1, this is going to be a hitter right here. He's going to be firing on all cylinders. I don't see him trying to lose this week because he's trying to prove a point to himself and he wants a championship and that's what he said. And I think he means business. So I'm buying in. I'm on the wagon. Let's go. I don't know, Charlie, how about you?
I'm so looking forward to seeing Rodgers to Garrett. That's the connect this season, man. I was so high on Garrett last year, and I felt like he had the capability to become a Stephon Diggs. Lo and behold, week 1, it's going up against Stephon Diggs. I think they're going to have success with that matchup. But the wagons will be circled in Buffalo, and the Buffalo Bills will come out victorious on this one. I think it's going to be an awesome way to end week 1. I think the Buffalo Bills are flying under the radar. Lots of hype in the metropolitan area, and rightfully so, because you look at this Jets defense, and now you have a quarterback that's capable of orchestrating the offense. I wonder about the overall firepower for the Jets, though. I don't doubt Garrett Wilson's talent, but around that, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, these are old tires you're throwing on the car. Does the offensive line protect Aaron Rodgers? And do they get enough out of the ground game? You got Breece Hall, missed OTAs, missed the offseason, recovering from that injury. He's not going to be 100%, but he'll probably play. And then you got Cook, who sat out the whole offseason too because he was worrying about his contract. I don't like not having the rest of the team ready to go for the Jets. I think it's going to be kind of a one-trick pony for a little bit. with Rodgers and Garrett. I think they're going to have to find somebody else outside to step in there. They had Davis retire on them as well, the wide receiver formerly of Tennessee. And obviously, they let Elijah Moore go. Mecole Hardman, I believe, is banged up. He's already at the third or fourth wide receiver position, too. Randall Cobb already jumped him in the rotation. You paid crazy money for Mecole Hardman. Why does that type of situation happen? And I got the Bills. I like Josh Allen. I think they're all going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, maybe for numerous reasons, but I think they're going to be ready to play. And I got the Bills.
Everybody's
It's
questionable
wild.
too.
It's wild. It's wild that our picks were solely based off of like the Jets and what the Jets can do, and not, the names over there on Buffalo, right?
Yeah,
Diggs and Allen
Buffalo did
and
look good in the
the
preseason.
new tight end Dalton Kincaid, and you got that whole defense. We're solely basing our opinion off of Aaron Rodgers and if he shows
Hype.
up and how he looks with his offense, and it's crazy that's how dynamic and how how much it matters. Something
It's
like
the
that. Something
star
like that
power.
guy.
You're
Yeah.
you're drawn to what they got going on right now because everywhere you look on the TV, ESPN related, it's Hard Knocks. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's having fun. You can see he's having fun, and that's a good thing. And it's hard not to follow the Jets right now and to like what they're doing. It's hard not to
Yeah.
follow the Giants if you're a true football fan and see what they're doing low key.
Yeah.
And me and Eddie were talking. I think we were playing PlayStation, and we were talking about Josh Allen. Dude had 19 red zone turnovers last year. 19. It just boggles my mind to turn the ball over that many times inside the 20-yard line. Like that's how many points they left on the table.
It was literally almost a majority, like for sure, majority of his interceptions came in
Yeah.
the red zone. It's like that's what I was knocking Lamar Jackson over for years. How do you expect him to win a championship creating those problems for your team, no matter how ferocious your defense is?
He's got to clean that up. And
same thing with Dak getting a lot of picks.
It gives credence to why somebody like Stephon Diggs might be a little pissed off walking around that he's not getting the ball because Josh is trying to do too much. So I think, James Cook taking over the lion's share of the responsibilities of running back is a good thing. Damian Harris to come in on short yardage situations. I think the offense has the potential to be a little bit more balanced. We've talked about that for years with Buffalo.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to add, gentlemen? Any more little last minute touches? Any more sprinkles on the ice cream?
Good luck in fantasy this week, guys.
Yes, good luck to you boys too. I'm just looking forward to football, man. I'm excited as all can be. Dag nippers, all of it.
Let us know, ladies and gentlemen. Are you Team Brady? Are you Team Eddie? Are you Team Charlie? Who you think's right? Let us know where we're wrong.
Let's go.
Let Eddie know he's crazy. We know he's crazy, Eddie, but let you tell him too, so he knows. And then more people tell him he's crazy, Eddie. Let's keep it up, bud. All right, gentlemen.
Deuces.
Good game, boys.
Hell yeah.